You know, when we think about tragedy, our minds usually jump straight to the ancient Greeks, right? We think of Oedipus or Antigone, but what's fascinating is that some of the most compelling, most heartbreaking tragedies aren't ancient at all. They're actually modern creations, new stories built on these timeless, terrifying ideas that feel like they've been with us forever.
And pretty much all of them circle back to this one huge question. It's a question that echoes through just about every myth we've ever told. What really happens when mortals get just a little too close to the sun? What's the real price of touching the divine? So, let's explore that. We're going to dive into 3 of these stories, 3 mortals who reached for something truly extraordinary and ended up paying a price that would echo for all of eternity.
First up, let's talk about Arion. Now, he was a demigod, the son of Hephaestus, literally born of fire and steel in a blacksmith's forge. But his story, it's not one of glory. It's about a sacrifice so complete, it kind of redefines the word itself.
His whole quest began with this bone-chillingly direct warning from the oracle at Delphi. And I want you to notice the language here. There are no riddles, no confusing metaphors. It's a statement, a set of instructions. His fate was laid out in the plainest, most brutal terms you can imagine. The cost was known right from the start.
And what a path it was. I mean, this was no simple hike up a mountain. He had to go down into the underworld and tame Cerberus, not with brute force, but with a song from his childhood. He had to face down Hermes, the messenger god, who cursed him with an unquenchable fire inside his own body. And only then could he face the final trial, the flame itself.
And here's where the transformation gets really gut-wrenching. He starts out as this lonely, feared kid, a blacksmith who could bend metal with his bare hands. But by the end of his journey, he's not a boy anymore. He's not even human. He becomes this living torch, a divine vessel whose body is literally cracking and burning away just to provide warmth for the rest of the world.
And that is the tragic twist that makes his story so different from, say, Prometheus. Prometheus stole fire, and he was punished for it. But Arion's fate was way more intimate, way more profound. He didn't just carry the gift back to humanity. His sacrifice was to become the gift itself, burning away until absolutely nothing of the boy was left.
All right, let's shift gears. Our second story explores a totally different kind of tragedy. This is Leonthe, a fierce Spartan warrior, and her story is all about the devastating price of knowledge, wrapped up in a forbidden, silent love.
So on the outside, Leonthe was the perfect Spartan. Feared, respected, a master of combat. But inside, she was searching for a kind of quiet magic that Spartan life just couldn't offer. And she found it. Every full moon, in a hidden grove, with this mysterious swan that seemed to be waiting just for her, like it needed her.
But of course, this wasn't just some bird. The warmth of its feathers felt unnatural, and the intelligence in its eyes. Leonthe knew she was dealing with something more. She was falling in love, not with an animal, but with a divine being trapped by some terrible curse.
And that god was Apollo, the god of light, of music, of prophecy, stripped of his voice and his form by Zeus, all because he dared to speak a truth that his father didn't like. His punishment was exile in this silent, feathered body.
But you can't have a divine love story without a divine warning, can you? Leonthe had a prophetic dream, a vision that spelled out the tragedy that was coming. And the message was crystal clear. The very truth she was desperate to learn about her beloved would be the exact thing that destroyed him.
And here it is. Here's the brutal, cruel mechanism of the curse. It had one single terrible condition. If any mortal ever figured out who he really was and spoke his name, the curse would become permanent. Her knowledge would be his doom.
And this is just such a brilliant, tragic climax. The moment she finds this ancient altar with his name on it, the moment it all clicks into place, she whispers, Apollo. And in that one instant, her love doesn't free him, it condemns him. She has to watch as the god she loves turns from feathers to flesh to, finally, cold, unmoving marble.
For our final story, we're looking at a completely different kind of divine interaction. This is Millennian, a mortal bard so talented he was personally mentored by the Muses. But his tragedy wasn't born from sacrifice or love, it was born from pride.
So after learning from the Muses, Millennian goes off and composes his masterpiece in secret. And this wasn't just a catchy tune. It was described as truth in sound. Think about that. A melody so fundamental, so perfect, that the three fates, the beings who literally weave reality, actually stopped what they were doing just to listen. But Milanian refused to share it. He thought it was too perfect for mortal ears. And this quote from the Muses just captures his sin perfectly. They didn't kick him out because he created something divine. They abandoned him because he chose to possess it, to hoard that beauty all for himself.
And his punishment? Wow. It was a masterpiece of psychological cruelty. Every single night, in his dreams, he would hear his perfect song in all its glory. He'd feel its beauty, its truth. And then, every single morning, he would wake up with nothing. Just the hollow, aching feeling of its absence. An endless, maddening cycle of creation and loss, over and over again.
So you see this fall from grace. He starts out as the Muse's chosen vessel, this conduit meant to bring divine beauty into the world. But his pride turns him into the song's first and only prisoner, a man forever haunted by an echo he could never quite catch.
And that's the agonizing irony of his fate, isn't it? He hoarded the song so that no one else could have it, and in the end, his punishment was to be the only one who could never truly possess it, yet never be free of it either.
So, there we have it. 3 mortals who touched the divine. A hero, a lover, and an artist. Let's pull back for a second and see what their fates really tell us about the true price of these gifts.
This table just lays out the tragic pattern so clearly. For Arian, the gift was fire. His ambition was selfless, to save humanity, and his price was to become that fire. For Leonthe, the gift was a god's love. Her ambition was knowledge, and her price was that love became a memory carved in stone. And for Millennian, the gift was a perfect song. His ambition was selfish, and the price was that he became its haunting echo.
You see, it all comes down to the relationship each of them had with their divine gift. Arian's story is a warning about total surrender. To wield divine power, you have to let it consume you. Leonthe's is a story of loss, a lesson that some truths aren't for mortals to know. And Milanian's story is the ultimate warning against pride, showing how a beautiful gift can be twisted into an instrument of eternal torture.
Which brings us right back to that question we started with. Looking at these 3 fates, becoming the gift, losing the gift, or being tormented by it, you have to ask yourself, when the gods offer something to us mortals, is it ever really a gift? Or is it always just a debt waiting to be collected?